Ladies and gentlemen, Caravan fans, welcome back to Built on Dante, Mount Carmel High School's official podcast. My name is Matt Malloy. I'm a senior here at MC. Just wrapped up my last day of high school, which feels very strange to say. Bittersweet feeling for sure, but what's not bittersweet is that I'm joined here with my lovely grandma, Mrs. Kathy O'Connor. Grandma, how you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
I'm doing fine. I feel kind of bad that you're leaving too, though.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling.
Yeah.
I took an AP test this morning. I was just talking to you about that, and it just felt strange knowing that I'll never really be in a classroom here again in the sense of being a student.
Yeah, your days are numbered.
Yeah, for sure. Graduation is coming up soon, and Mother's Day Mass, which you'll be at, and everybody else's moms and grandmas, and so this is
very,
really
very
the end
busy
of the year.
time. Very busy time.
Yeah, and Mr. Conroy always talks about, he loves this time of year, though, because we get to recognize everybody and students and teachers. And I thought, what a great way to kind of end off my podcast career, my media career here at MC, by recognizing you, Grandma, because
you finally got me to sit down and have the interview.
It took a little while there, I guess.
It did.
I know. We talked at St. Patrick's Day, I think, out at Uncle Dan's house, who we will talk about, of course, later on today. Yeah. But we talked there, and pretty much every time I saw you, I would always kind of poke fun at it.
And I'd always say, no, yeah. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
But we got you. So,
right.
But for a good reason.
Well,
yeah.
I figured this is, it's the only time. It's the only chance I got now.
Right. Yeah, this will be it. So I guess we'll get started. There's a lot to talk about. But
okay.
First thing I want to talk about, is I always tell people that I came to Carmel because of you and Grandpa. And
we used to take you to the football games,
yes.
trying to get you interested in Mount Carmel.
And you never forced it.
No.
Although I will say you probably forced it a little more than Grandpa did. But no, it was never forced upon me. You guys never, pointed your finger at me and said, you must go to Mount Carmel.
We just wanted you to become acquainted with it.
Right. And
yeah.
I did. Ended up coming here. But, you did the same thing. COVID happened and Grandpa passed away during that.
Yeah.
And right after that, when the pandemic was over and we took the masks off and everybody came back to the building, something else that happened was you started working here in the spirit shop. So, just really open-ended. If you could talk about why you came back here, when you came back here, just that story behind your return to Mount Carmel.
I think I'm here 4 years now. After Frank died, I was, I really didn't know what to do with myself. And, I was living alone, nobody to talk to, feeling sorry for myself. And it was Dan who said, we can always use help at Mount Carmel. So I said, I'll give it a try. And I was a nervous wreck coming in here. And it was Janine Beaver was my boss. And she couldn't have been the more perfect person for that job. Because I was very nervous. It had been a long time since I, worked. And I fell in love with it. I love Mount Carmel. I love everything about Mount Carmel. I enjoy seeing the kids. I enjoy the people I work with. I love it.
Yeah. And I think you being in the spirit shop, that's a very unique place to work in the building. When you're a teacher here, you kind of go off in your classroom and you stay there the whole day, and you don't interact with everybody. But from the stories I've heard from you and little things here and there, you've met everybody from Coach Seagroves to Mr. Glonick. You've met the whole bunch. So what's it like just working in the shop during the lunch periods?
I love
sorts of people coming in.
With the kids coming in, I love to talk to the kids and the people coming. Yeah, I really enjoy the freshman parents who come in because they aren't too sure what to get, or they worry about the dress code, and I'm able to advise them, let them know let them know what they should do, and also to make sure and tell them that their sons have made a good choice on coming to a great school.
What's the number one thing people buy when they come in the shop?
The number one, that's a hard question. Their uniform shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah, their polo shirts. There's a mad rush at the beginning of the year when the freshman parents come in. They have to get their polos. What else do they? Well, they like the sweatshirts.
Yeah. The
sweatshirts and the quarter zips because they're cold in the school.
Really? I've heard this plenty of times from you.
Yeah. They come in and they're freezing, and they have to buy a sweatshirt or the quarter zips.
So what? November hits and it starts getting colder out, and that's when kids come in.
Yeah.
And do you almost feel like a fly on the wall at times?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I hear what's going on out in the hallway when I'm sitting in the shop.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting.
Well, we could leave it at that.
Yeah. It's the what I enjoy hearing are the teachers talking to the students, and they don't talk down to them. They talk to them as adults and let them know what they expect out of them. And I think that's good because these kids have to grow up.
Yeah.
And they have to know what's expected of them. And that's the one good thing.
Yeah. No, I bet. And you're here every day from, what time would you say you get here?
Well, I usually leave the house about 9:30, 9:45, so I get here by 10. And I'm here until 1 o'clock.
So those are like the prime time hours of the day.
It's the lunch hours.
Yeah, everybody's running around. They're getting their lunch, or if you're me, you're probably interviewing someone for the newspaper, or if you're an athlete, you're watching film with your coach, and so people are just running all over the building, and you're right there in the shop selling stuff, which I always admired. From you taking up that job, because that's not necessarily a job you just come in and sit down and. It's a blow-off job. It's important. Yeah.
I've learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of myself for learning it because, I never worked in retail before. Mm-hmm. And there are certain things that has to be done, putting things online and inventories. So I'm proud of myself for what I can do.
Yeah. No, we're all proud of you too for taking this out.
Thank you.
It's great. I love the fact that, especially like I said, just a couple minutes ago, when people ask me why I came here, I always say it was because my family's here, you and Grandpa, and my Uncle Dan and cousins and everything. So
we have a lot of them here.
As Ryan Clark calls it, the O'Connor Society. He gave it a name, so that's how it's big.
Yeah, well, I have 3 grandsons that came here. Mm-hmm. You and I got Tommy O'Connor and Danny O'Connor. He left last year. He went to Ignatius, St. Ignatius. So he's graduating from St. Ignatius a week from Thursday. So I've got 3 graduations coming up at Macaulay. I've got Mount Carmel, and then that Sunday is Mother Macaulay, your sister. And then Danny is from St. Ignatius that next Thursday.
That's a very busy time.
It is. Yeah. It is. Yeah.
And then you got graduation parties after that, and it's gotta be a strange time for you.
Yeah, I'm just finding out about when the graduation parties are. It's going to be the whole month of June.
Okay, yeah, but does any part of you feel the same way you did when your son, Uncle Dan, graduated from Carmel? You got to be feeling kind of the same way right now, because now all of your grandkids are graduating and they're going off to college. And Uncle Dan did the same thing. He went, played football in college. So, I'm not asking you to get into the glory days here, but, if you could talk a little bit about the 90s when he went here and why did he come here and what he did here. I'm ready for anything. I know there's a lot of stories. So
yeah, well, Dan, graduated from here in '95. I know Frank graduated in '61. And I really didn't have that much to do with Mount Carmel. My sister had 2 boys who went to Mount Carmel, and she was president of the Mothers Club. Her name was Peg Murphy, and she raved about Mount Carmel. And sometimes I used to think, I tone it down a little bit, But Dan decided to come here, and I figured I got to get involved. So I joined the Mothers Club, and I was just telling you earlier that I was a secret shopper for the Mothers Club at the Sears in Chicago Ridge Mall. And I used to go in once a month and grade the salesperson who I had, and then go into the office and give them my report on them, and they would give me $100 for the Mothers Club. So for 2 years, I brought in $1,200 a year to the Mothers Club. And then, Dan was on the basketball team and the football team. For football, we made lunches, and we used to make a lunch for after the games, and we'd stand by the buses when they were coming off the field and hand them their bag of lunch, sandwich, chips, and a dessert that the parents made. And when it was playoff time, we had what they called Hell Week, and it was 2 days in 1 week. And we came down here and we made spaghetti dinner for them, and pizza bread. Bobby Secret had a recipe for pizza bread. We'd come down in the kitchen right here. The MC Cafe used to be the kitchen, so we worked in there. We'd cook for them. Basketball. I didn't do too much for basketball.
Yeah.
But
I know you have one really big story.
I do. Well, Dan played basketball with Antoine Walker and Dutta McNabb. And they graduated in '94. Dan graduated in '95. So he didn't really get to see that much playing for the basketball games. But the year that it was the year after Donovan and Antoine graduated, and they didn't think the football or the basketball team was going to be that great. It was playoff time. We were in the playoffs, and we were at Brother Rice, and there were 5 seconds, maybe less, left to the game, and we were down by 1 point. And we got the ball and put it up, and I'd say 3 or 4 kids on that team put the ball up and missed. And we kept getting the rebound, and the last kid, Antoine Mitchell, stuck the ball. And the buzzer rang, and your grandpa hugged me so hard that I think he broke my rib.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sad. It was a thrill. It was a real thrill.
There's been so many great moments since I came here 4 years ago as a freshman, and then you started working here. There's been, from the Batavia game, the one I announced, to basketball, where we made that run downstate, to football with the 3-peat. Would you say you're as invested as you were when Uncle Dan came here?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I love football.
Yeah.
Football is my favorite. I love football. But I love basketball. The best part of the basketball team is the last 2 minutes. I've always said it. Yeah. It's exciting to see these kids going downstate and doing as good as they're doing. We have great coaches.
We do.
Yes.
And I was going to ask you, have you ever told Coach Seegers that the last
He knows. I think he's a great coach.
Or I mean, have you ever told Coach Seegers that the last 2 minutes are the best part of the game, the most important?
Well, I tell a lot of people that, so I might tell them that.
I'd like to think what he thinks about that. A lot of time. Yeah.
I'm sure he feels as though the whole game is very important, which it is.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you're in that hot seat.
Yeah, but as part of a spectator, the last 2 minutes are the most exciting.
I agree. I mean, I can look at games from this year, from calling them with Marty Mann at home or going on the road somewhere. You're right. In 2 minutes, something's bound to happen.
Something always happens.
Yeah.
Something always happens.
I guess I'll spin it back around. Uncle Dan had a great 4 years here. I know
he did.
He may have not won state or anything, but he was on some great teams. Great enough, they called the 90s the decade of dominance. That's kind of
the football team never made state.
Yeah.
In all the years that he played. It was the last year. Was it 93? It would have been the football game of the team of 93.
Okay.
They won the city championship.
Okay.
And the next year, we were in the playoffs for state, and we were playing St. Rita. And we were losing bad. It was, I know the last quarter, I had to leave the stands. And it was Mr. Nolan's mom who followed me. And she talked me through the last quarter because I could see the writing on the wall. I knew that they weren't going to make it. And the game it was too late for them to get into the city championship. So that was it. It was the end of it. St. Rita. To this day, I still don't like going to St. Rita's field.
Really?
It just brings back some sad memories.
If you could say, though, and I already know your answer, but for the people to know, Mount Carmel has what feels like 100 different rivalries across all the sports. There are a couple of big names. I know right now, I think relevancy, there's probably 2, for football. What's the biggest one for you? What's the game you always look forward to?
You're setting me up.
I'm setting you up. You don't have to go too far, though.
It's another race. Yeah. It's another race.
What is the why? I mean, why is it such a big deal when these two?
I can't explain it. But I think, in my opinion, I love to see Mount Carmel beating other race.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go any further.
I got you. Yeah. I just think it's if you were to ask somebody, who was a parent in the 90s compared to who was a parent today, right? Like if you take one of the parents from today, those answers can be completely different. But what the great part is, teams come and go, but we always were able to kind of stay on the mountaintop, if you know what I mean. We get through it and we're able to win state. We just had a 3-peat, and we played all the teams. So
Jordan Lynch is doing a fantastic job coaching this team.
Yeah. It's crazy to think, but this last season we had, it was tough. The only Mount Carmel football team to win state with 3 losses, and we lost that we won against the Hun, and then we lost the Hun school, the New Jersey team.
Yeah. I think it's good to lose. It's good to lose a game during the season.
Yeah.
Because it makes the kids fight harder.
Yeah. And you've seen that firsthand plenty of times, right?
Yes.
Because this is another thing I wanted to
Well, your ego gets a little too big. If you keep winning, you have to take a loss every once in a while and figure there was somebody better than me out there, and I've got to work harder to do my best.
Right. And I think
And it does make you better.
yes. And if there's anybody that knows that, it would be Grandpa. He, like you said, he graduated from home in 61.
Yes.
And I remember being a little kid, getting out of school from St. John Fisher on Friday at, 2, whatever, 3 o'clock. And I would come home, and you guys would pick me up, me, Danny, and Tommy, and all our friends. And sometimes we were driving really far on the road, or we were going
to a game.
Going to a game. Yeah. I love those days, and I do remember him saying that, though, what you just said, where it's like, you know what, they lost this week, they lost last week, but they'll bounce back from it. And the one season I really remember, and what I always tell people about, is 2019. I remember going to Gately a little bit. I really remember.
I got this.
From 2019.
It's a ring from 2019. The ring from 2019, but they made it into Monday.
What do you remember from that season?
Oh, there's been so many. I remember going out to Maine South.
Yes,
I was the same season.
I was going to bring that same game up too.
Yeah.
I'll have to look back at the score and exactly what happened, but that game was so memorable.
Did we win?
We won. I remember, but I think it was close. I remember.
Yeah, I love the close games.
I remember being close because you got quiet.
Oh,
that's what I remember. I remember.
Usually I'm talking in the stand.
Danny, Tom, and I, we were probably, being, we were running around the field, but then when I got to the end of the fourth quarter, we sat down next to you, Grandpa, and I remember you just saying nothing. So I think it was a close one.
Yeah.
But you and Grandpa took me to a bunch of games, basketball, but most notably football were the big ones every Friday.
Yeah.
What was it like going to the games with him? Because he loved this place so much. Mainly the football team. I know he was super invested in that. So, I mean, you got to sit next to him every game. That's two people who love the team so much. What was it like to experience it that way?
Well, sometimes he'd be sitting with me. But going to the games, it was like a big family reunion for him, too, because he would go around and meet all the guys from Carmel.
Yeah.
Guys that he graduated with, that he knew through the years. But he was very quiet during the games. He always he paid great attention to the games, and very happy when they won, and when they lost, he just said, they'll come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was... he didn't go, crazy or start yelling at the umps or the referees or... Thank God. I would have crawled into a hole if he started acting like that.
Yeah. Well, I won't name anybody, but I think no matter where you go, what school you're for, there's always going to be some parents.
Yes.
But that's part of the energy. That's part of the environment.
It is.
Yes.
It is. Yeah. If somebody really believes that a wrong call was made, I can't blame them for yelling at the referee.
Especially when you know somebody out there is playing, and you're that
definitely
into it. Yeah,
definitely. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
But you work here. So did Grandpa.
I do.
So did Grandpa.
Yes.
And what was that like back in 2015 when he started working here? Were you at all surprised by it that he came back here? Did you always think that he would find a way back here? I mean, what was that like?
He was a Chicago fireman and battalion chief of Battalion 19 when he retired. And he was off for maybe a year or two. We traveled, and then he was bored to death. So he got a job working at McCormick Place for a year or two, but he didn't enjoy that much. And he knew some of the security guys that worked at Mount Carmel. So he went over there and he said, I'll try out the security guard. Well, he loved every minute of it. And we used to joke about it. Family. because he would, we'd be planning something, and he'd always say, "Oh, I can't do that. I got Mount Carmel. I've got to beat Mount Carmel. I'm not going to do that." And it was volunteer work. But he was dedicated. He was dedicated to Mount Carmel. He loved Mount Carmel.
Do you remember, back when you first met him, and kind of, was that part of his personality as much as it was?
No, he never talked about Mount Carmel.
Really?
No, he never talked about high school. And when it came time for Dan, I only had one son, and it was Dan. And when it came time for him to make a decision about where he was going to go to school, Frank kept his mouth shut. He didn't say. And it was between St. Rita. Well, he liked Mirrors.
Yeah.
He liked Mirrors Gym. And Mount Carmel. And the day that they were to take the entrance exam, Frank drove him, and he was driving by St. Rita, and he said, "It's a lot closer. You want to go here, or are we going to go to Carmel?" And Danny got upset with him. He said, "No, I made the decision. I'm going to Mount Carmel." And I think it was very good that Frank acted that way, because if he was pushing Mount Carmel on him, he might have said, "No, I'm not going to do it."
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was his decision. It was his decision to come.
Yeah.
But he was very happy once he made the decision to come to Mount Carmel.
Yeah.
Frank was.
I think that too. And this is coming obviously from the other perspective, from Uncle Dan's perspective. Growing up, I'm kidding when I say you would push Mount Carmel more than Grandpa would, but pretty much all you would do is you would talk about it.
You knew that I liked Mount Carmel.
I knew you loved this place, yeah. And you were always talking about what was going on here, because, I mean, what other school would you be talking about, right? You just love this place so much.
Yeah.
But
I gotta tell you, the day that Danny graduated from Mount Carmel, I thanked him for opening a whole new life to me.
Really?
The people that I met, I thanked him. A whole new life was opened to me through Mount Carmel.
In what way?
But just meeting the people, it got me involved in something.
Yeah.
I enjoyed, making the lunches and going to the mothers' clubs, and it was just an activity that I never experienced with Mother McCauley. Now, I mean, I had two girls that went to Mother McCauley, but I never really got into it.
Yeah.
And I think it's because Mount Carmel was a smaller school, and they got everybody involved.
Yeah.
And it's another thing that I tell all the freshman parents in the school to get involved.
Yeah. And I think it's great that you're talking about the community, that sense of community.
Yes.
I mean, you're still a part of it. Years after Uncle Dan has graduated.
I'll always be part of Mount Carmel.
I think that's an incredible thing, that when you're in it, when you're in that struggle, like it says up on the wall and everything, you might not realize that it's going to be around for a while, but I think by the time you're much older and you're coming back to games and, you're coming back to events, then that might be when it sets in. So I'm not even there yet. And I already know that down the line somewhere.
Do come back and visit.
Yeah. It might not be every day, right? Like as a student.
No.
This isn't a place you forget about, I guess. This is,
right.
If you went here, you remember it. Yeah.
When I walk in the doors now, I feel as though I'm coming home.
Okay.
And I know that you have a sign that everything's saying "Welcome home," but it's true.
Yeah.
I feel like I know. I mean, Phil Seagroves, Bill Nolan, John O'Connor is my nephew. Dan's the dean. It's everybody is. You just know everybody. They're all so friendly. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean.
And then I've got. I have the grandkids, and then I have John O'Connor's son, Will, and Patrick O'Connor. Those are my nephews. And then Terry O'Connor and Shirley Moongate are cousins.
Yeah.
So it's
Ryan
and there's
Clark's,
more coming. And there's more coming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But it's Ryan Clark's O'Connor Society.
Yeah.
I mean, you've obviously met him, but he always jokes about it. From the first day of freshman year and how many people I'm related to at this school. And
yes.
It's crazy the webbing of it, but no, I love it too. It's great to go to school with your family. I mean, it adds a whole layer of it. You're really not just going.
But you're not in the same classes together, eh? But I mean, you see each other in the hallway and say hello, and
Yeah, I love how.
And Jackson Barons. I didn't say Jackson Barons is my nephew.
He's out there playing baseball right now.
Yeah, he's graduating this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bunch of seniors right now. But like you said, there's more coming, and Will and Patrick and Terry, they still got time. I mean, there's still other guys,
but I'm going to miss you guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss you guys. And I've got to tell you what a great job you have done.
Thank you, Grandma.
Yeah. You have gone above and beyond. Grandpa would be very proud of you.
Yeah. Well, I'll return the favor. I mean, thank you for listening to every single time we broadcast.
Well, I look forward to the football games. Mm-hmm. But this year, maybe it's because I'm getting older too. I don't know. But I enjoyed staying home listening to your broadcasting.
Yeah.
And you did a great job. Yeah.
Thank you.
But
I don't know what it is. We're on this topic of community, and I think it's just, I want every Catholic high school on the South Side to kind of, everybody in the CCL or whatever, all the schools that Mount Carmel is around. I want all of them to have something like we do as far as the broadcasting goes. Because when you talk about building off of that community and, getting to know everybody, you may not be in person at the game experiencing it, but being able to stay up with the news and see what the team's doing.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because so many times, but if you don't broadcast a game, like in the playoffs, and I'm not going to spend money to go on the networks to try and find it. I'm constantly on the phone texting, what's the score? What's going on?
Yeah. So I think we really caught an early wave there, of everybody in the media group.
Well, I don't know. Some of the schools do it too.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not as good as you, I don't think.
Okay. Yeah.
But I know Brother Rice did it before you guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they do a great job.
Yeah.
I enjoy listening to them. And there's another school, I can't remember who it was, but I mean, they show they don't have an announcer. They show the picture of the game being played, but they don't really have an announcer.
I think it's something that's still growing. I mean, you're right though. There are other schools like it, and I love how it ties into the community sense that you were talking about. I think it's great for it. So,
right. What's going on?
Yeah. And now that you're here every day, now you already said earlier, but you are definitely in the loop now if you weren't before. So I think we've been talking for a while, but we covered the big things.
I really didn't think I had anything to say.
I know, which I was shocked by. I mean, you've been around this place, this community for so long that I thought, you might be itching to get to tell some stories you have. But
I thought I got my notes here.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to throw out there that we haven't talked about yet?
No.
No.
No. I just, there's one other one. It's just when Danny was a freshman here, the mothers and sons, some mothers and sons, maybe about 10 of us, decided we were going to have a flag football game.
Okay. Against
The mothers and the sons. And we had so much fun that day. We played in a field. I think it's the parking lot now. I think that's where we played.
Okay.
The parking lot across the street. I got to know the parents from that, football game.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
That's a nice story. And people love to talk about.
There's little memories like
Yeah.
that. I know for the basketball team, we went down to Centralia, and it was right after Christmas. Frank and I went, and we usually have a big Christmas party at our house. We had leftovers, so we took the eggnog and the appetizers and brought it with, and the desserts, the cookies and the fudge, and brought it down to Centralia and had a party down there. Well, all the kids were playing basketball.
Yeah. I know. I went down to Pekin with the basketball team this past
Yeah,
year.
I bet you had a good time.
We had a good time.
Yes.
I know that the team was hoping to win that tournament, but came up short a little bit. But it was still a great experience. I know. If you talk to Christos, he says that that tournament is always one of the best parts of the year for him. So and he was on the varsity team for 2 years, so he got to go down twice. So.
Yeah.
But
it's a great experience. Great experience.
Like you said, I looking back on it now that I'm wrapping up here as a student, it is those small moments,
It'll always be coming back to you. You get flashes back and think how much fun it was.
You're gonna remember, the big ones like graduation and the guys that won state. They'll, of course, remember that.
Well, graduation, I don't know if they still do it or not, but I know when Dan graduated, they had people stand up for first generations.
They still do that.
Do they?
Yeah.
Do they?
So.
Yeah, we're going to have. You got to skip there because your dad went to Paris.
He did.
Yeah. But your grandfather came.
Yep. Yeah. But I always do tell people that
I'm very surprised you didn't go to Marist.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I obviously was interested in it, and I grew up wearing Marist hats and hoodies and shirts. But there was some Carmel stuff around too. It was kind of split down the middle, but I think really what was the difference there was when my dad and all of his brothers and all the boys, when they all went to Marist, it wasn't a boys' school.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's obviously co-ed. So the school that I shadowed at and went to open houses for, really, it was a completely different school than the one he graduated from. And he did tell me that. He did tell me that. So I weighed my options.
And they had a bigger school then too,
Yeah. So ultimately, I chose here in the end. Which I mean, I think that's good. One of the parts I love the most is, guys, people like my dad who they didn't go to Carmel. They went somewhere else. He was in Iowa. Oh yeah,
because
okay. Coach Ed McCormick of the '85 team. He lived on the same block, a couple doors down from the Malloys.
Yeah.
And Scott McCormick and my dad still really good friends still today. So he was around it, right?
Yeah. And Scott was a manager for the basketball team.
Yeah.
When Dad was playing basketball.
Yeah. So
small world.
Yes.
Everything's connected.
Yeah. I mean, we just talked about people we're related to here.
Yes.
It goes deeper than that if you go beyond Carmel. So it's But Grandma, thank you for coming in, talking to me. We could probably talk for another for another
It
5
could,
hours.
yeah, but it could be boring to other people.
Yeah, it's interesting to us. So, this is it though. My last podcast. I think one of the last.
Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry.
I know.
That last broadcast that you did on TV was Fight Night. I was crying. Yeah.
You know, it's a weird feeling. It's really weird because we're going off and all the seniors, whatever it is we're interested in.
You're going for bigger and better things.
Yeah.
But you've always got this as a grounding.
Which you and Grandpa were the first people to show me that. You guys both came back here to work and volunteer, give your time. So,
I think you got a great education here, both. But I mean socially too. Not just educational wise. Life.
Mm-hmm.
You got a good background for your life.
And that's going to carry on to this fall when I'm off at college and beyond.
Go to Nebraska.
Go big.
I've got another place to visit.
Another place to fly to.
Yes.
It's an 8-hour drive, so I don't know if you want to. It's a long, but you ought to go to a football game. We'll get you out there.
Okay. Definitely.
Grandma, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
Of course, yeah.
And this wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I was a little nervous about having this interview with you.
A little, yeah. But, it turned out great.
It did.
All right, I love you. Thanks for talking.
Love you too. Best of luck to you.
Thank you. To those fans listening out there, we'll catch you on the next episode of Built on Dante.